Hello, this is Wayne Boon of the American Carp Society, and in this episode of our whiteboard series I'd like to show you a few easy additions that we can apply to the basic hair rig that make it even more efficient at hooking carp. So welcome to this episode called The Hair Rig, The Next Steps. If you haven't already viewed the How to Tie a Hair Rig whiteboard episode, I'd recommend you spend just a few minutes watching it. That's so you can familiarise yourself with the basics of this very important carp fishing rig before continuing here. The main differences in this more advanced version of the hair rig are based mainly in and around the use of a soft coated braid, rubber float stops, silicone tubing and a liner. Now stay with me here and all will be explained in the videos that follow. Hope you enjoy. Hi, this is Wayne from the American Carp Society, and this is a follow-up video to our How to Tie a Basic Hair video we did a few months ago, I guess now. As you can see, this is the actual rig that we tied in that video. It's pretty simple, but it will catch plenty of fish for you. It's just loaded some maize and a piece of plastic on here. And these top two rigs here are basically the same with a few different additions just to make it more efficient at hooking the carp. I would say that these two rigs are my go-to rigs. If I show up a lake that I don't know too much about, these are what will get thrown out first. So basically the difference is a little float stop just before the bait there to stop the bait sliding down the hair, a little piece of silicone on both of these to hold the some silicone tubing really, to hold the hair to the back of the shank of the hook. Shrink tubing to give it a little bit more of an aggressive angle as the line coming out of the eye. And this one is same as that really, but it's a pre-made one. Kicker they call it. And all the way down here, in fact let me move this around, is an anti-tangle sleeve. And this will go into the quick change swivel. We'll show you all that in a minute. This is a coated braid, both of these are, and I've broken the coating just before the hook there, so it gives it a bit more flexibility. I'll show you all that in a minute, and actually how to tie it, all the little things here. All right, I'll see you in a bit. There are many variations of the hair rig that use coated braid, but let me just say that this version is my go-to rig here at home in the US. It's very versatile and can be used to fish a bottom bait or buoyant baits that are popped up above the lake bed. Okay, let's have a go at tying this. As you see, I've laid out the components. I've got the baits, a little float stop there, that's these things. I've got silicone tubing. That's actually a kicker, but we're going to do it with the shrink tubing, just to show you how to do that because they're pre-formed, but I'll show you how to do the actual shrink tubing version of it. We've got the coated braid, we've got the anti-tangle sleeve and a quick change swivel. So again, this is my go-to rig. I show up at a lake, first time I've ever been there. I'm not quite sure what I'm facing. This is the type of rig I will throw out first. All right, so I've cut off, just to save a little bit of time, I've cut off 16 inches of braid, as you see here, coated braid. I've stripped 6 inches of the coating off, and I do that with this little tool. You do it with your nails, you see how much more flexible that makes it. You do it with your nails or teeth, just be careful. This little thing, it's really quite handy. You just throw it in there, get it in the little teeth, and then pull back and strip. But anyway, as I said, to save time, I've done it, and I've also tied a little loop in the end. As you can see there. Next thing, as you can see on this, we need to put a little float stop down there. That's the way I'm doing it. Again, that float stop's just to stop the bait falling down towards and touching the hook. We don't want that. We want to keep it separated. So I'm just putting one of those on. You see, pull that all the way down. So now we've got we got a loop, we got there. Now we want to take a little bit of this silicone tubing. You can buy it separately. You just any of the carp shop, any of the carp stores in the US. Don't get confused with rig tubing. This is a completely different beast. This is very flexible, very rubbery. Rig tubing is more rigid. So just make sure you're getting silicone tubing. Okay, I think it comes in about 1 meter lengths. But anyway, I cut maybe about 1/8 of an inch off. Hold that. And I'm going to put this on the baiting needle. It's a little bit easier to get in there. Just throw it in the baiting needle. This baiting needles are your friend. So just let's lock this down. There we go. Then again, snag the line in the little barb there and push the silicone tubing off the needle onto your hook length there. So pull that down. So there we go. So now we got 2 of the components on there on the hair. The silicone tubing holding the hair to the shank of the hook also acts to notify you if you've been done by a carp during the previous cast. If when you reel in the bait, the silicone rubber has been pushed right up tight to the eye of the hook, you know with close to 100% certainty that a carp has had the bait in its mouth and been able to blow it out without getting hooked. Carp can get lucky once in a while in my book, but if it happens again with the same rig, it's definitely time to tie a new rig. Now, depending on the time of year, water temperature, type of lake bed you're fishing over, and how confident the fish are feeding at that particular moment, you can try making your hook link shorter, maybe longer. You can try experimenting with the hair, making the hair longer or shorter. This often makes a huge difference. And it really all depends on how the fish are feeding in the water that you're presently fishing. A little experimentation is often required, and that's where you build your experience up. I wish you good luck on that. Now the next part can be a little tricky, but figure out how to get that on the shank of the hook the right way. So here we go. Put the barb of the hook through the silicone, gently push it on, watch those fingers, like that. There we go. See that? Pull this round, swing it all the way around. There we go. So we got the hair. And normally I'd have my bait on this this hair already, but since I know it's going to be a piece of tiger and a piece of buoyant corn, plastic corn, I know roughly the length I'm going to have it anyways. So there we go. Now I'm going to tie my hair rig. So the end through the back of the eye towards the barb, pull tight, just as in the original how to tie a basic hair rig video. Whip up the shank of the hook from the eye very neatly. 3, 4, 5, 6. One more for good luck, and then thread the end again through the back of the eye, very important that, towards the barb, and pull tight. Keep everything taut. Boom. So now you've got a hair rig. Yeah. Now let me turn this round so everything's facing the right way. What we need now is that little kicker. So I guess as a promise, we're going to do the shrink tubing. I'll show you how to do that. They come pre-formed, the kickers, but the shrink tubing is a little bit more. I like it because you can vary the angle. If you want a more aggressive angle off the eye, you can do that. So just thread that down towards the eye and just over. Right, just thread it over there. Sometimes you got to wet it a little bit, but cover the threads, or the whipping if you like. And you want probably 1/4 of an inch, just overhanging. Because what we're going to do, we're going to shrink that, and it's going to have a little bit more of a bend in it like that. And that's the way it'll stay. That'll give you a very aggressive angle. It helps the hook turn when the fish picks the bait up and the hook, and it turns the hook, and once it's set, say that's the mouth, it sucks in, blows out, it always catches in the bottom lip. It's just the way it is. And the more aggressive that angle, the easier it is for the hook to turn. Yeah. Plus, you notice we've taken the coating off the braid there, so this part's really flexible. This is not so flexible, so it presents the bait a little bit more naturally. Gives that. All right. So next, we're going to tie on the end. We're going to tie a big old loop, because that's going to go into the swivel at the end, joining to your main line. I've given myself plenty of room here. I'm going to do like a figure of 8 loop round the back and then through the eye. That gives you plenty of strength. Hook. In fact, lengthwise, I'm going to use a hook puller, which is just a little tool to save the fingers. Just give that a good pull and tighten that knot off again. Cut the tag off. Okay. Now next, we want to place this anti-tangle sleeve on. Yeah. So it wants to go on that way. What I generally do, because these come thin, I just tend to cut the tip off at the 1/4 inch. It just gives it a bit more room on these thick needles. So I'm threading that on the needle again. Remember, this needle is your friend. Thick end on first, and then snag the loop and just gently, can be a bit tricky, slide that off over the knot, do it a little bit and leave that loop through there. There we go. So what we've got now is a tied hair rig. That, by the way, is the skin off the coated braid that I took off earlier with that little tool here. All right, so next, I'll see you in a little minute, and we'll finish that off and show you what goes here briefly. It's I usually use this on a bolt rig. We'll go into a bolt rig on another video, because it's an important part of carp fishing. But there's the components, and we'll get into that in a minute. Oh, let's get them in frame, eh? All right. Okay, kettle steaming. See, that's the shrink tubing. I'm gonna, with a pair of pliers, watch your fingers. I'm just gonna, all right, you see that? That's straight. I'm gonna angle it in, and you'll watch that steam. It shrinks the plastic, special plastic that shrinks. So it's like electrical shrinkage tube. There we go. Let's let it cool a second. All right, let me turn this off and get rid of that. So now you can see the angle on that. And again, that helps an aggressive hook turn. The carp picks in, so that's the mouth. There's no way that hook always turns. You see it on the back of your hand too, even. That hook will turn. Doesn't matter. When you pull on that, that hook pulls, right? Now the other way obviously is the pre-made kicker, but I wanted to show you how to make your own with the shrink tubing. There's the kicker. They call them liner liners. You just push that on the line over the eye, and and it ends up looking a bit like this one. Not fiddly, but you might prefer that. I prefer making my own, then I can adjust the angle like that. Right, see that? Okay. Okay, so that was how to use the shrink tube and apply it to the hook. I think you'll agree that's got quite an aggressive angle on that now. I mean, when the carp picks that bait up, that hook will turn at every opportunity. I mean, you know, every opportunity, especially when it's attached to the bolt rig or an inline lead, which we'll get to next. I'll briefly touch on that. But let's recap and get the bait on the hook. And in this case, we'll just use a piece of buoyant maize and the tiger nuts. Let's see. Just to recap what we covered in the basic hair rig video a little while back. Put the bait onto the hook. Yeah. Snag the loop on the end of the hair and gently push off. So you've got a little bit of a loop showing. Open it up, make life easy for yourself. Then put one of these little bait stops in. Just one of these little barrels, just one of them's good. It just stops the bait flying off. There we go. Push that bait stop in there. Cut that off. There we go. Don't need that anymore. And there you've got a baited rig. See that, the idea, like I said, we broke the coating to give that more flexibility there. The actual line itself hasn't got much flexibility. But when you take the coating off it, this will sit up because this is buoyant. It'll just negate the weight of the tiger and some of the hair, not all of it. So when the carp comes along, sucks it up, anything in this area, that's going to go with it. Once the bait is in the mouth, the carp will tend to blow out, and that hook will turn because of the kicker you just put on it and nail it in the bottom lip. That's just genius. Geniusly simple. Right, what else do we do? Where do we put this? Let's have a look at this. We got, I'm not going to go into this because it's another video in its own, but a bolt rig. What actually happens is, in fact, I've got one pre-made here. Let me use this one. There we go. This is your main line coming from your rod. I've got some rig tubing on it. There's the line threaded on. Basically, yeah, it's just threaded through there. Threaded through this little safety clip. Tied to a what we call a quick change clip. You'll see why it's called a quick change clip in a minute. And that just sits in that barrel of the safety clip. That barrel just sits in that little hole like that. We would then take this, the loop, you made a loop on there earlier, snag it on that swivel, pull. It looks like it's open, don't worry. That's why this anti-tangle sleeve is there. Push that all over the end of that swivel, and that does not come off, believe me. There we go. This also acts when you cast. This is, as the name suggests, it's an anti-tangle, so it keeps the actual bait away from the main line as it's being flung through the air. Yeah. Your weight, swiveled weight, then goes on to the little clip we've got here. Oops. Like that. And then this all tightens up. We've got this very soft rubber sheath that goes over the top. Call it a tail rubber. And that just pushes over the metal clip. Some of them are plastic, most of them are plastic actually, but I like these metal ones. And we'll get into it in the next video, but the idea is if the fish ever gets tethered, you know, you're in weed or anything like that, this is designed for that lead to come off like that. Boom. and then the fish can get away, pull, right to the break, gone. And the fish is not tethered to any snag or weed line, and it's a safety issue. It's just showing respect for the carp. Hopefully that helps you. But anyway, there's the rig right there. And with that, I'll say goodbye until next time. Thank you very much for watching, really appreciate it. On the pop-up version of this rig, a small split shot weight or some tungsten putty is placed on the line where the break in the coating starts, as shown here. This anchors the buoyant bait, helps keep the rest of the hook length flat on the deck, and also aids in the turning of the hook when the carp initially picks the bait up. Don't hesitate to contact us if you have any problems locating any of the component parts shown in this or any other whiteboard episode. Most of the big name carp tackle brands make excellent coated braids, and they're all available from all our US carp tackle outlets, such as Big Carp Tackle, Wacker Baits and Tackle, Carp Kit, Fishing Factory 3, and many more. And also check out our online store located on the American Carp Society website for an ever-expanding range of top quality tackle products. And please do support our US carp tackle outlets at every opportunity. The better they do, the more choice we have, and that just makes perfect sense. Thanks for that.